ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so we're reading verse number 7. अस्माकं तु विशिष्टये तान्निबोध द्विजोत्तमा नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते. अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान्निबोध द्विजोत्तमा नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते. अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान्निबोध द्विजोत्तमा नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते. Word for word translation. Asmakam, our, tu, but, vishishtaha, especially powerful, ye, who, tan, them, niboda, just take note of, be informed, dvija uttama, O best of the brahmanas, nayakaha, captains, mama, mine, sainyasya, of the soldiers, samna artham, for information, tan, them, bravimi, I'm speaking, te, to you. Purport. But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. Okay, verse number 8. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karanascha Kripascha Samitim Jayaha Ashwathama Vikarnascha Saumadatis Tathaivacha Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitim Jayaha Ashwathama Vikarnascha Saumadatis Tathaivacha Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samatim Jayaha Ashwathama Vikarnascha Saumadatis Tathaivacha Word for word translation. Bhavan, your good self. Bhishmaha, grandfather Bhishma. Cha, also. Karanaha, Karana. Cha, and. Kripaha, Kripa. Cha, and. Samitim Jayaha, always victorious in battle. Ashwathama, Ashwathama. Vikaranaha, Vikarana. Cha, as well as. Saumadatihi, the son of Somadat. Tata, as well as. Eva, certainly. Cha, also. Purport and translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadat called Bhurishrava, who are always victorious in battle. Purport. Prabhupada says, Duryodhan mentions the exceptional heroes in the battle, all of whom are ever victorious. Vikarna is the brother of Duryodhan, Ashwathama is the son of Dronacharya, and Saumadati or Bhurishrava is the son of the king of the Bahalikas. Karna is the half-brother of Arjuna, as he was born of Kunti before her marriage with King Pandu. Kripacharya's twin sister married Dronacharya. So there isn't much purport to this, but whatever Prabhupada has explained in the purport of verse number 8 is how the relations are on the side of the Kauravas. Okay? So last week we discussed that Duryodhan approached his Acharya, Dronacharya, and he calculates the strength of the opposing army. From verses 3 to 6, he is discussing who are the Maharathis on the side of the Pandavas, and he gives a list of 21 Maharathis on the opposite side. Yeah? So Prabhupada says in his lecture to this verse that this is actually a very good skill. It is actually very intelligent to calculate the strength of the enemy, right? If we're running a business and if we just calculate our own profits and we just sit there that, yes, I will earn the profit, is that how it works? No. We also need to assess the strength of the opposing armies. We must know who are our competitors, and we must also know our weaknesses, so we can convert our weaknesses into strengths. We can also learn the weaknesses of our enemies and convert them into strengths, but at the same time, we must also know their strengths, so we can fight in equal strength. Yeah? So, whilst calculating the opposite army, he tells Dronacharya that please let me tell you about the captains in our army. Enough about the Pandavas. Now let me tell you about mine. Why? So that you completely understand about my army. And once you hear about our strength, you will be assured that we will definitely be victorious. So we identified that he already knew, Duryodhan knew that Dronacharya had some attachment towards the Pandavas. And he was afraid that what if he becomes a bit lenient toward the Pandavas? So he's trying to imply to Dronacharya that if you be on my side, be assured that victory will be ours. And it's nice to be on the winning side, isn't it? So he's trying to imply that victory will be ours. In verse number 8, he's now starting to list all the great warriors on his side. Right? So he uses the word Samatim Jayaha. And that means that I have warriors on my side who have always been victorious. But is that true? The warriors that he is mentioning, Karna, Ashwathama, Vikarna, is that true? In fact, there was a time when the Kauravas attacked the Virat kingdom, when the Pandavas were in exile. And during the 13th year, the Kauravas attacked, and Arjun single-handedly defeated all of them. But Duryodhan is doing the duty of a leader. Regardless, he's encouraging his team that all our warriors are always winners. They have never lost. Okay, so he's trying to encourage. So now he begins to glorify his own army. But who does he begin with? Now both Dronacharya and Bhishma they're great warriors. They're both senior, right? Bhishma Dev, he's the general of the army. The entire army is under him. And Drona is his acharya. So now he's a bit confused. Whose name should I say first? Shall I say Bhishma or shall I say Drona? So because he's already having a conversation with Drona, and because he's trying to encourage him directly, he says the name of Dronacharya. He says, Bhavan, you, your good self, you are on my side. So definitely victory will be with me. He was very diplomatic. He knew how to speak to all kinds of people. So he says, victory will be ours because you are on our side. And another reason he actually says Dronacharya's name first is because Dronacharya was a Brahmana and Bhishma Dev was a Kshatriya. So he knows that I should first offer my respect to the Brahmanas, and Bhishma Dev will not mind if I say a Brahmana's name first. So he says Bhavan. And then he says Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev, he's of the oldest generation on the battlefield, and he's a Maharathi. He's 4 generations up. He's 4 generations older than the Pandavas. That's how senior he is, and he's on the battlefield. And he's so strong that once he fought with Lord Parashuram for 28 days. He fought continuously. And at the end, Parashuram said, no, you're very, very strong. You're definitely a Maharathi. Yeah, so he's also a devotee of Krishna. And it's described in the Bhagavatam that once on the battlefield, Bhishma Dev and Krishna had a very beautiful exchange. Bhishma Dev shot an arrow towards Krishna. And Shukadev Goswami explains this so beautifully that Krishna perceived it as if petals were hitting him. That was the loving exchange between Bhishma and Krishna. We know of the Panch Rasas, the 5 loving exchanges between devotees. There is Shantaras, there is Dasya, there is Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. So this is a relationship you can have with Krishna in neutrality. You can have as a servant, as a friend, as a parent, or as a lover. But there are also 7 secondary rasas, and one of them is Virya Bhav. So when Krishna desires to fight, who does he fight with? He fights with his servants, just like a king. If he's in his palace and he desires to wrestle, who is going to come and wrestle? One of his servants, right? Similarly, when Krishna desires to fight, he also enjoys this loving pleasure with his devotees. So this is one of the relation he had with Bhishma Dev in Virya Bhav. Bhishma Dev is also one of the 12 Mahajans. So Mahajans are pure devotees of the Lord because they are always teaching how to love Krishna. They are always teaching pure devotional service. Yeah? So the 12 Mahajans, we know them from the Srimad Bhagavatam that there is Brahma. Brahma wrote the entire Vedas. He said this beautiful prayer, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, that we're singing every day, teaching everyone that Krishna is Parama Ishvara. There's Narad Muni. Wherever he goes, he's preaching Krishna consciousness. This is his main role in Krishna Leela. Wherever he goes, he's preaching about Krishna. And then Shambhu, Lord Shiva, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He's the topmost Vaishnava. Lord Shiva is always meditating on Vishnu. And he even recites Srimad Bhagavatam to Parvati Mata. There's Kumara, the 4 Kumaras. They are pure devotees, they are transcendentalists, they are always preaching Krishna consciousness, they are meditating. Kapila Dev, he preached the message of Krishna consciousness to his mother, Devahuti. Swayambhuva Manu. Then there's Prahlad. Prahlad Maharaj is also a great devotee. We're singing the Narsimha prayers every day. The Narsimha prayers were spoken by Prahlad Maharaj to Narsimha Dev. So there's Janak Maharaj, there's Bhishma, there's Bali Maharaj, there's also Yamaraj. So all of these are pure devotees. They're all Mahajans and they teach how to love Krishna. So even Bhishma Dev was a pure devotee. And although the entire Mahabharata may not have seemingly showed that Bhishma was a pure devotee, Krishna took a chance. And at the end, when the entire battle was over, Bhishma Dev was still lying on the bed of arrows, right? And at that time, Krishna instructed the Pandavas, you should go to Bhishma Dev. He'll instruct you how to rule. So then they all go to Bhishma Dev, and when he starts speaking, everyone realizes he's a pure devotee. He instructed the Pandavas for how many days? 50, 56 days, for so long. And then he left his body. He also had Ichha Mrityu. He had this benediction from his father that he can leave his body whenever he wants. So what did he desire? He desired to see the Lord at the end. He even teaches how we should leave this body. So these are pure devotees. They live and they show by example. Okay? So that is Bhishma Dev. And then there is Karna. So Duryodhan was an equal fighter to Bhim. But who was an equal fighter to Arjun? Karna. Almost an equal, we can say. Yeah? So there was no one in the entire battlefield who could match the strength of Arjun. That's how strong he was. So before the battle, Duryodhan had a meeting with his side of the army, and he asked Bhishma Dev to assess all the warriors. And at that time, Bhishma Dev gave Karna a very low position. Even though he was almost an equal to Arjun, he gave a very low position. He did not say that you're a Maharati. So because of this, they had a slight dispute. And since then, they were not in good terms. Bhishma told Karna that there is no way you can fight Arjun. As soon as you hear the string of the Gandiva bow, you will tremble, you will shake, you will not be able to handle the sound of the Gandiva bow. So at that time, Karna decided that I am not entering the battlefield until Bhishma Dev retires. Yeah? Karna thought that I may fight and I may come out victorious. But who will take the glory of the victory? Bhishma will take the victory. So I'm not going to fight until Bhishma retires. So Bhishma Dev fought until the 9th day. And then when he fell, on the 10th day is when Karna enters the battlefield. Yeah? So, yeah. And there are also many episodes in the Mahabharata that we can see that Arjun was actually very, very powerful amongst all the Pandavas and the Kaurava brothers. There were times when, after the Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi, uh, many other suitable men were there. Karna was there, Duryodhan was there, but they all got so furious when Arjun won the Swayamvar ceremony. And they fought after, and Arjun emerged victorious. Even again, the Virat kingdom, the example, Arjun single-handedly fought with all the Kauravas and emerged victorious. All the Kauravas fled away. So Karna was not that powerful in front of Arjun, but he was almost an equal opponent. Okay, so that's why Duryodhan really valued Karna on his side. And then there is Kripacharya. Kripacharya is a Chiranjeevi. A Chiranjeevi means he is an immortal. He was given a benediction that he would not ever be defeated. And he told Duryodhan that I'm an immortal, and that's why Duryodhan values him on his side of the team. Okay? So we know that there's so many examples of Chiranjeevi. Even Hanuman, he's a Chiranjeevi. He's always living. Even now, he's alive. Even Ashwathama is a Chiranjeevi. It's explained somewhere in the Bhagavatam, maybe some acharyas have explained, that he's still somewhere on the Himalayas. He's still alive. He's a Chiranjeevi. He's immortal. Okay, so Ashwathama was also an expert archer. He was the son of Dronacharya. And Dronacharya had so much attachment for Ashwathama that attachment was used against him. He was fighting so much, and he was also happy to see, oh, my son is also, a great archer. He's fighting on the battle. But then one day, Dronacharya was told that Ashwathama is dead. And because of that attachment, he felt so much pain, he dropped his weapons. And at that time, Drishtadyumna attacked Dronacharya and he was killed. So much attachment that it caused his death. Yeah? So Duryodhan is very cleverly naming all these relatives to Dronacharya. Why? Because they're all related to him. He's trying to say, you are a great warrior. Bhishma is a great warrior. So is your son. So is your brother-in-law. They are all great warriors. Okay? So then another name that is mentioned is Vikarna. Vikarna is Duryodhan's brother. And Duryodhan only had one fear. During the ceremony, during the gambling match, after the gambling match, when Yudhishthir lost his kingdom, Draupadi was insulted. She was disrobed. And at that time, only one brother of Duryodhan spoke up, and that was Vikarna. Vikarna spoke up and he said, "What you're doing is wrong. Give the kingdom back to Yudhishthir because it's unfair. This gambling match was unfair. Don't do this." And so Duryodhan had this fear that although Vikarna is standing on this side, maybe his heart is on the other side. Maybe. And for that reason, he also gives Vikarna's name as one of the most powerful warriors. But actually, he's not that powerful, Vikarna. He was not a Maharathi. Okay? And then he also gives the name of Bhurishrava. So Bhurishrava's father is Somadatta, and Somadatta's father is Bahalika. And Bahalika's brother is Shantanu. Okay? So we can see from verses 3 to 6, Duryodhan gives a list of 21 Maharathis. But on his side, how many warriors does he mention? Just 7. Just 7. So if the army is so big, how did he only manage to pick out 7 names? Right? So in the future verses, we'll see how he's applying more diplomacy in his words. Okay? So from these 2 verses, what we can learn is that Duryodhan is describing both sides of the army. This is politics. You should know the strength of your armies. And how we can apply this to our lives is that we must also know who our enemy is. And we must also know the strength of our enemy. So Krishna says in the Gita in the 3rd chapter that who is our enemy? Lust. Arjun asks, what is that force that makes one to act forcefully, even if someone doesn't want to act? They may have all the knowledge, they may have all the discrimination between right and wrong, but still there is a force that is impelling them to act. What is that? And Krishna says it is lust. And where does lust reside? So lust has 3 sitting places. One is our senses, the second one is our mind, and the third is our intelligence. Okay? So in chapter 6 later on, Krishna says that our mind can be the greatest friend or the greatest enemy. So when the mind is not connected to Krishna, all these enemies, they start to overpower us. Our Shastra says that we have 6 enemies: lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and envy. These are the 6 enemies that start overpowering the mind. So our mind can either be our friend if we have surrendered to Krishna, or it can be our greatest enemy because all these enemies start overpowering us. So first, we must understand who our enemies are, what their strengths are, and how we can be victorious. But then we must also, after assessing all this, we must also look at who is on our team. What is our strength? So we have us, Atma, and we have Paramatma on our team. And what is our strength? Atma plus Paramatma is unlimited strength, right? So whilst Duryodhan is identifying the strengths of his team, on the other side, Krishna bewilders Arjun so that we can learn how to reconnect with Krishna and identify him as our strength. Yeah? So to summarize, it's only when we are surrendered to Krishna that Maya cannot affect us. There is a beautiful verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that says, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andhakar Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikar. Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. So wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. So as soon as we take to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion is completely eradicated. Okay? So I'll stop on that. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.